Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Monday. Um, just wanted to touch base with you a little bit before I head off to the office. So I was going to do this on Friday, but that didn't work out because of computer glitches. So we're going to do it today. So we're going to talk about satya, the second yama from the yamas and niyamas. Truthfulness, satya. The jewel of satya, or truthfulness, isn't safe, but it is good. Truth has the power to right wrongs and end sorrows. It is fierce in its demands and magnanimous in its offerings. It invites us to places we rarely frequent and where we seldom know what the outcome will be. If we don't approach truth with our knees knocking, we haven't really understood the profoundness of this guideline. We may think that truth means simply not fibbing to our mom when she asks if we ate the forbidden cookie, but truth demands integrity to life, to our own self, that is more than not telling a simple lie. When we are real rather than nice, when we choose self-expression over self-indulgence, when we choose growth over the need to belong, and when we choose fluidity over rigidity, and we begin to understand the deeper dynamics of truthfulness, and we begin to taste the freedom and goodness of this jewel. So it's really easy to get caught up in your own belief system instead of really what's true, not just what's true for you. I think that comes from a lot of listening. When we listen to other people, especially when I listen to the bodies, minds, emotions of people. I'll sink in here so it's a little bit brighter. How's everybody doing today? Good. My vein is like popped out. I see that. So yeah, bear with me. We just tend to stay on our own path, and we stop listening maybe to what's going on around us, or maybe we're listening to things that aren't really true, especially coming from our own head. Think about that. So I just want to read a little bit more from here. Okay. Self-expression versus self-indulgence. Self-expression versus self-indulgence. When we habitually silence and distort ourselves, we begin to lose our lust for life and look towards other things to fulfill us. This is maybe where addiction steps in that door. We forget that we are here on this earth to self-express in a way no one else ever has or ever could. We can feel this urge within us wanting to bubble up and say to the world, I'm here. Our self-expression can find its way into the world in many forms, but when the process of our self-expression is imposed on for whatever reason, we can easily turn towards self-indulgence. So we kind of see a lot of that as what kind of, I believe, in my opinion, what happened over the last couple of years. People weren't able to speak about how they felt about things. Things were just rammed down their throat. We're going to lock you away. And so they self-indulged on food, alcohol, drugs, whatever their choice would be, sex. Some people, sadly, more domestic violence, things that went, even beyond the addiction. Anyway, yeah. So think about that. Most often, this imposition comes in the form of shoulds or should nots. We saw that clearly, either from our own self messages or from others' message to us. The result is always a misdirection of energy. There is a settling for less than we had hoped for, a kind of resolution to things as they are. Often we find ourselves hiding by overeating or overworking rather than doing what we really want to do. Living the life that cries to be lived from the depth of our being frees up a lot of energy and vitality. Sometimes we just have to do it anyway. Personal responsibility. We make the choice, we do it. We deal with the consequences. We don't suffer through the consequences. We deal with the consequences of our actions, our choices. We make better choices. Everyone around us benefits from the aliveness that we feel. On the other hand, suppressing that life for whatever reason takes a lot of our life energy just in the managing of the pretending. When we pretend we're happy, locked away, yeah, that doesn't last very long, does it? The need to belong versus the need to grow. In the family constellation work of Bert Hellinger, therapeutic work dealing with family systems, a unique slant on guilt and innocence is expressed. Hellinger says that as human beings, we have both a need to belong to groups and a need to expand and grow. Hellinger says that as long as we stay within the approval of the group, how many of us tried to do that? We experience the innocence of belonging. However, when we begin to grow in directions beyond the group, we experience guilt in regards to the group. The truth of our freedom carries the price of guilt. So we can get over that quickly. If you're carrying guilt, regret, any of those things, a great remedy for that is plant medicine, healing retreats, yoga, massage. We let go of those things that we're carrying in our mind that start to reflect in our body. So we have many groups. Truth rarely seems to ask the easier choice of us. Sometimes we have to step out of that group, not only for our greater good, but for the community greater good and the universal greater good. We can't always, my mom used to say, if somebody jumped off of a bridge, would you jump behind them? We have to look and think about, what groups we're involved in. Does it make sense? Or do we need to step out, take a break from that group, or maybe just release that group from our life? There's going to be other groups to join. Listen to what's going on in your body, mind, emotion, and the subtle energy around you. Do it right the first time. Or go back and tell someone you can't really do what you said you would do. Or maybe you spend your time and energy trying to avoid that person because of your own embarrassment. Can you imagine speaking and acting so correctly that you never have to go back and apologize or make a new agreement? And it's very liberating when you can speak the truth and allow people to hear you. Nobody can read somebody else's mind. So when we speak the truth, we're putting it out there. We want to be heard. We're not screaming. We're just communicating. If someone chooses not to hear, then they're probably not going to be in the same group that we're in. And where are we? Truth has weight. Although truth prefers fluidity to rigidity, it also has real substance to it. There is a thickness or a weight to a person who practices truthfulness. And this is a groundedness. This would be a more kapha dosha, not flighty, airy like vata. Can't get grounded in truth. So think about that. Are you feeling grounded today? If you feel up here in your mind and you got the monkey mind going on, the hamster on the wheel, try to get grounded. Maybe there's something you're not being truthful about at the core of your being. Maybe there's something you need to express, especially if you have like any throat issues, any tightness, coughing, something needs to come out. So keep that in mind as well. When we run from life, try to manage life, or leave our energy scattered here and there, we feel differently than when our whole self shows up with our thoughts, words, and actions congruent and unified. When we are centered in the moment, we can fully meet the ordinariness of life as well as the challenges of life. Dishes are met with the same contact as our arguments, as our hugs. There is no need to tame ourselves or hide ourselves. All of us shows up to the moment, ready to meet it in truth and integrity, ready to make full contact. And a lot of times people aren't prepared for your truthfulness, and that's okay. It helps them have a better understanding of who you are, so long as you're doing it from a place of truth. And hopefully it helps people understand better their actions, emotions, and how other people are perceiving them. So meeting the moment full on is like playing a contact sport. We aren't afraid to play the game with everything we have, or to get knocked down or knocked around a little in the process. It's all part of the fun. So I like this little quote. There was something in the fierceness of the way the people met the truth of their lives. They were able to contact life in its fullness. So again, remember, when we're telling the truth, we're not having to go back and make up a different story or add on to that story. It's just the truth. Okay, so, and again, there's a little exercise that goes with this that I would just encourage you to do and see how that works out for you. So this week, observe the difference between nice and real. And a lot of times people aren't going to like that, aren't going to be nice to that real person. Notice situations where you were nice. What did this experience invoke in you? What were the results? Notice situations where you were real. What did this experience invoke in you? What were the results? From whom or what do you seek approval? Does this affect whether you act from your niceness or your realness? Good. And again, this book is The Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice by Deborah Adele. So if you haven't got this book in your little yogic library, I highly suggest it. It's super, super good. I did pull a mudra last week, and I'll go ahead and share it with you. And this mudra is for intention. So it's the thumb crossed over the index finger. You might turn it in, turn it out. And this is the intention to be true. So it all came together. I always love how when I draw a card, it all comes together for our highest and greatest good. And that's what I always say. How can I present this for all of our highest and greatest good? And this is the Vaya mudra. This is the wind mudra. It helps in all cases which we associate with wind in one way or another. The voice. Rheumatism, arthritis, sciatic problems, winds, shaking limbs. In acute cases, maintain the mudra as long as needed. In chronic cases, practice it 4 times a day for about 10 minutes. So you're just going to sit and hold this. Give that index finger a little pull down, reach out with the other ones. Take care that your words, wishes, and expectations are really in accordance with your thoughts and feelings. Let inside and outside be in balance with each other. Imagine how you are successful, satisfied, and happy. This mental picture has a magnetic effect and draws everything into your life which accords you with your inner attitude. Even more light, even more love, even more abundance. Visualize all those things, mentally, emotionally, physically, and in the subtle body, your environment that surrounds you. And the mantra for this mudra, this Vaya mudra, I cultivate my loving feelings and positive thoughts, and this exerts a magic attraction on benevolent, affirmative, and positive things. And so let's just finish with that mudra. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Monday morning. Let's bring it in. Anjali mudra. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste. See you Wednesday.